Welcome to the Infinite Reps Podcast. This is episode number 7. Let's jump right into it, okay? Today we're dealing with another John C. Maxwell classic, okay? This one is called How Successful People Think, okay? Again, this is the Infinite Reps Podcast. I am Trev12 on Instagram. Follow that, and we deal with the infinite expansion of the minds, okay? We're going to address the dummy boys in a minute, but let's just get right into it. So we'll just dive into the introduction of this one. Okay, again, John Maxwell, he sold over 30 million books. We dealt with him before in a previous video. We're going to deal with him again, okay? But we're just going to skim through one chapter, the introduction, okay? So he says, this is about how successful people think. He said over 40 years of his studying of successful people, okay, there's one thing that's common between them, okay? And he said it's how they think, right? So good thinkers, right? They're always in demand, right? They always have solutions. This is the Infinite Reps Podcast. We're about algorithms and solutions. We are good thinkers, okay? And those who develop the process of good thinking, they're able to rule themselves, okay? I wanna really drive this point home because I think it's really interesting that he makes this point, okay? They're able to rule themselves even under an oppressive ruler or in a difficult circumstance, okay? These are good thinkers. These are commonalities between good thinkers. This is why it's good to be a good thinker, okay? And you can learn to be a good thinker because it is something, it's an action, right? So he starts off with this idea again that good thinkers are able to rule themselves even under oppressive circumstances. And he starts off the chapter by quoting Hitler, okay? He says, he says, what luck for rulers that men do not think, okay? What luck for rulers that men do not think, right? So John C. Maxwell says, right, he recognizes, right, that it is the ability to think and to think well that can push you through any circumstance, right? No matter how difficult, right? No matter the situation. So again, we want to always be expanding our mind, and there's a certain way to do that, okay? So some things that you need to know about good thinking, it says that good thinking is not automatic, right? You must search for good ideas, John Maxwell says. It's difficult, okay? He quotes Einstein. He says, thinking is hard work. That's why so few do it. Albert Einstein. Thinking is hard work. That's why so few people do it. But it is worth it, okay? Because the ability to think well is like a diamond mine that never runs out, okay? So you have an endless diamond mine, all right? So again, we're going to keep this video very, very quick and very brief. This is just the introduction of this book. Again, anything John Maxwell is foundation, okay? Anything John Maxwell is foundation. But I want to chop it up a little bit about, first we're going to talk about the how-to, okay? Because he breaks down how to become a better thinker. But again, I want to stick with this idea that good thinking can help you in any oppressive situation, okay? So in terms of the how-to, there's basically 6 steps, right, that he breaks down very briefly in the chapter here. Number 1, and again, all of these are very obvious, right? It's just that we need to have repetitions, infinite repetitions, see information over and over again, drill it into our brain so that we start becoming aware of it and we can act on it, right? Raise your awareness, expand your awareness, okay? Number 1 thing when it comes to becoming a good thinker, right? To be able to think how successful people think, because there's a specific process for how successful people think. So to be able to think like a successful person, right? Number 1, you need to have good input, okay? You need to expose yourself to good input. What you put in always impacts what you get out, okay? Number 2, moving right along. You need to expose yourself to other good thinkers, right? Iron sharpens iron. People, sharp people sharpen other people. They sharpen one another just like iron sharpens iron, okay? So you need to be around other good thinkers. And you need to keep good records, okay? He talks about going to a thinking place, having a thinking place, okay? Some people's thinking place, sometimes people think best in the shower. Sometimes people think best going for a walk, right? I like to go for a jog. Sometimes people think, think best during meditation, whatever the case may be, right? You might want to go for a swim. I don't know. Okay? When you go to your thinking place, right, make sure you bring something to record your thoughts. Okay? Because what happens is you need to be able to take action on your thoughts. And your thoughts actually, or your best ideas, have a short shelf life. This is why you must take immediate action, or maybe not immediate, but definitely plan and follow through on the action, because our ideas have a short shelf life. And yeah, you pretty much shorten it, right, even more when you don't even record it, because then it's just a fleeting thought. So definitely write your ideas down. This is how successful people do it, right? According to John C. Maxwell, this is how successful people do it. You record your ideas physically, right? You implant them on a subconscious by actually writing them down, right? Not just typing in your phone. You record them down, and then you need to plan action. You need to take action, because they actually have a short shelf life. They have an expiration date, okay? So you think things through, right? And part of thinking it through is recording it, and then you follow through with action, okay? Number 5 is you use emotion to propel you forward, right? You use emotion to create momentum for the idea, right? Because emotions can feed the process. Just like negative emotions may slow you down, positive emotions will feed the process, but you definitely want to use emotion, right, to increase the momentum of your ideas once you get a flow going. But again, following these steps. And then number 6, he just says mind the goal. Now, mind the goal is just, understanding that, let's say you have a good idea and you make that idea pop off, right? You take action and then you put some emotion behind it, and you got good momentum on that good idea. That's great. But one nugget from a whole gold mine is not enough. You have an infinite gold mine in your mind, okay? Let me spin the triangle. You have an infinite gold mine in your mind, infinite diamond mine, and one nugget is just not enough, right? Go back and go get more nuggets, right? Keep doing the process over and over again, right? Repeat the process. And he actually quotes a U.S. senator. I don't know if it's a former U.S. senator or this book was actually published in 2009, okay? So he quotes a U.S. senator. He says, "Learning to write is learning to think." Right? This is from the book. This is from the book How Successful People Think. Okay? U.S. Senator, right? Learning to write is learning to think. You don't know anything clearly unless you can state it in writing. Okay? So you don't know anything clearly, right? Unless you're actually keeping good records. You got to make sure you're keeping good records. Right? And again, like I said, we're just dealing with ideas. I struggle with these things, okay? I don't write down my goals every day, right? But this is just how successful people do it. This is how successful people think, okay? Once we get these ideas and once we become aware of these ideas, then we can apply them to our lives, right? So don't judge me. So the good thing is, right, John Maxwell breaks down really, really simple. No matter what your circumstances, you can learn to be a good thinker, right? You must be willing to go through the work of being a good thinker, okay? Right? You have to be willing to engage in the process actually every day. You actually have to carve out time in your schedule to go think, okay? So he just makes it clear, right? What's cool about this book, I know we're getting kind of worked up here, right? But what's cool about this book is John Maxwell, it's an invitation to become a winner, basically. He says he's making it clear that these chapters, again, we're just going through the introduction, but these chapters, right, hopefully I'm saying something that resonates with you. Go check out the source, because he says it's not about telling you what to think, it's just telling you how to think, right? You come up with what you want to think about yourself. But again, that's pretty much it for the introduction. He just skims, what he's going to break down. But what was interesting, right, was that the first chapter On the first page of the first chapter, he talks about cultivating big picture thinking. And the first person that he quotes, he starts off the chapter by quoting Donald Trump. Okay? Now, like I mentioned just a second ago, this book was published in 2009. Okay? This book was published in 2009. How successful people think. Now, John Maxwell, who's the godfather of this information, passing this on to, over 30 million books sold, he uses Donald Trump as an example in 2009. Now, I don't know when Donald Trump says this, but he says, right, we're going into 2020, okay? And this is the president, right? So Donald Trump, at this time, he was only a real estate developer. That's how John C. Maxwell describes him in the book. He says, Donald Trump, the real estate investor, he says this: you have to think anyway, so why not think big? Now, John Maxwell was quoting Trump in 2009. Trump was speaking like this way before that. To have been quoted in 2009, he might have made this statement way before that, years before that. How long has he been thinking big, right? And we wonder why he's a winner. Call it for what it is. Call it for what it is, right? So Donald Trump says, right, in the first chapter is about cultivating big picture thinking, right? And he says you have to think big, or you have to think anyway. You're gonna have to think anyway. So why not think big? And I think this is really something that a lot of people struggle with is again imagination, right? Because it's limitless, right? But you got to start somewhere. So go as big as you want to go, right? So for all those people that see, because we talked about how in the beginning, this stuff here, how to think, being able to think like a successful person, it can actually help you to, if you see yourself as in an oppressive situation, right? If you see yourself, right, if you're in your victim bag, right? A lot of people are in their victim bag over Trump, right? If you're in your victim bag, remember that John Maxwell, he started off the whole introduction of the book saying that successful thinking, how to think, right, can actually not only help you, but cause you to prosper in the most oppressive situation, right? So it's about your mental, it's about your mind, right? So he's saying that good thinkers rarely find themselves at the mercy of ruthless people, okay? Good thinkers rarely find themselves at the mercy of ruthless people because they are good thinkers, right? So this, again, like I said, we're going to discuss more John Maxwell, but this is foundation, right? I want to keep this video short, but the bottom line is we got to shift our paradigm, shift your paradigm from the way that you see things, okay? Everything is not a L, right? It's only a loss if you didn't learn from it, right? You gotta peep game and act accordingly, right? This is like, if there's books out like this, there's no excuses to be in your victim bag at all, right? You can get the steps, you can get the tools, but again, you have to apply the knowledge, right? I'm nobody's mentor. I'm just I'm hoping I'm making people aware of certain places they can go look for their own answers. Because again, even just reading a book is not going to help you. You're going to have to apply these principles in some way in your life, okay? And again, if anything I ever say resonates with you, go and check out the source material, right? Go and check out the source because they can break it down to you a lot better than I can, okay? I just think that this is a good read, all right? So again, it's @KillerTrev on Instagram. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and more so than anything, man, meditate. How about that? Meditate, right? Get into some type of meditation. Get into some type of deep thought, right? Get into some type of relaxation of the mind, and see what happens, you know, and do it every day. So just like, right, you have to practice successful thinking every day. Meditation is a thing that you got to do every day as well. Okay, and that's something I'm definitely implementing in my routine.